Hey guys, it's Drew. I'm here to make a video today to talk to you all about a few things that I have been doing over the past couple of months. I know I've taken quite a break from talking to you guys, doing businessy things. I have still been writing and publishing in various magazines. But I also wanted to tell you guys today that I have a new Instagram account that is attached to my tarot readings, and it is the queer seer at instagram.com. But you can find it on Instagram, and I'll put the link below. Anyway, I want to talk to you guys today a little bit about some of the books I have been reading and researching and doing all kinds of really interesting things with, and how I'm using them, and also the decks that I'm using to do this process. So one of the things that I really wanted to do this year was really get into astrology. I'm quite fascinated with everything like stars, constellations, natal charts, like you name it. I'm quite obsessed. But being the aspie that I am, I get quite addicted to things, and so the astrology bug finally came around, and I found a really fantastic book. I had been talking to the Bard's Lament, Larissa, who is my good friend, and she recommended a few books, some that I already had as well, but other ones that I'm going to pick up. But I went to the TS bookshop in the city, and I just felt like I needed to find something in particular, and I looked through the astrology section. I was going to pick up Practical Astrology by, I think his name is Ivor Dominiques, and I eventually did get that on my Kindle, but I found this, which is Your Zodiac Soul. And I apologize for my camera. It's brand new, but apparently it's a shitty one, so it's just about as good as quality as my last one. But yeah, so this one's by John Wadsworth, and it goes through the 12 signs as gateways, which we all know I love my dreaming, my astral. So seeing them as gateways and portals really caught my attention. And I'm the kind of person who flicks through books in a bookshop, but I don't really read them. Or because you can actually like take a book and go check it out in this particular style, but I don't do that. So I just like to pick it up by, I guess, intuition. And so yeah, it's got the 12 gateways, and then the options are you can either do it in like one a month, so do it throughout the whole year. But I've chosen to do it in time with the actual energies of the sign, because I wanted to go through the process, and then when it comes back around to Aries again, go through the process again, and just keep going through this until I feel like I've actually achieved something in my life that is positive, and I've actually stuck to and committed to something, because Drew is terrible at that. But the main point is that I really felt called to do this and to work through the signs, because there are some like energetic signs that I just don't know very much about or haven't really spent much time with. I'm a Cancer with a Leo rising ascendant, so my Leo is strong as fuck. That's how I walk through the world. But I don't really get along with my Aries energy. At least I thought I didn't until I did this, and it turns out that I'm quite equipped at dealing with Aries energy, more so than I thought if I use it properly. So each chapter, it goes through about maybe 10 pages, and it goes through things like the shadow side, and some myths that you can work with. It's centered around the northern hemisphere, which I don't particularly like, but I can just ignore that shit and work with the southern hemisphere. And I don't even really work with the wheel of the year anyway, so chaos magician. So I just take what works and just discard what doesn't. But what I really like at the end of the chapter 2 is that it has these questions, like these journaling questions, and exercises that you can do. I'm trying to find a page. So, for example, this would be Aries. So they've got some journaling questions, because you guys know how much I love my journals, and suggested activities. I haven't done any of this. I did my own thing. So there's that book. And what I actually decided to do is, because I like doing things my own way because I'm stubborn, I picked up a journal, a paper blanks, because why not? And I decided to go through the process in this journal. And what I wanted to do too as well was to reference my natal chart and get to learn about myself through my natal chart. And it's really deeply fascinating. But instead of doing the questions, what I did was I wanted to spend some time working with a particular guide as well, who has been like supporting me through quite a lot of shit, and I wanted to get to know him a little bit better through the astrological signs as well, to see like when he was more prominent, when he was less prominent, when I needed him more, when he, like, you know, when I needed him less, and also document my dreams, because dreams is my work. Dreams in the, you know, astral realm is my job. So I did that, and I ended up like finding that I dream quite a lot, more than I thought. Sometimes I was having like 5 dreams a night, and I can like remember everything, but I'd try and write down everything, and I managed to get about 3 or 4 each night in. So, and that was like a major important part of this process. And then I ended up at every sign, I would ask 3 questions, which is where's my energy represented at the beginning of this sign? Connor, who's my guide, where his energy, and the bridge to work with through that particular sign. So, like, what we were going to do together in the 2-3 days that we were in that sign that I could actually do and get shit done, and, you know, do some transformative work. And I did some meditation, some journaling, and it got to about, I think it was Cancer. So I got to my sign in this, and that's when I started going downhill, because I had some revelations because of this, and I ended up missing Leo and missing Virgo. So the next cycle I will be doing very prominent work with Virgo and Leo, because those are the 2 that I just blanked completely. And I just stayed way too long on my Cancerian energy, which is totally me. I'm very moody and emo sometimes, so I just stayed right there. And so we're working with that, and I'm now back to Libra. So I think Libra has another day left in it, and that's good. I had my birthday yesterday, and that was also in Libra energy. And Libra energy I haven't really worked with very much, so it was interesting to see how that day went. But yeah. And to do that, I have been working with 3 decks in particular. I picked up the Angelarium Oracle of Emanations. I picked this up as a birthday gift for myself, and I wanted to work with it immediately. I use this after I've done my reading and after I've done my other spreads to connect with Connor just specifically as himself, and to see how he's progressing and talk to him a little bit, because I really like those Tree of Life imagery. I'm also using the David of Creation, because I think these cards are amazing for this kind of work, where you're really just tapping into like energy and the different aspects of those particular energies and mythologies as well. I wanted to use a tarot, but I just felt like tarot wasn't going to work for me for this particular project. Maybe it will when I go through the next cycle, but I wanted to just work with oracle cards that really held a lot of energy. And also with the David of Creation deck, there's a section where they have particular cards for planets, and this is the only deck that I actually have that has planetary cards. And when you're working with the astrology, you're obviously working with planets in their houses, you know, in their signs, in your natal chart, etc., etc. So I wanted to do that. And they've also got cards that represent nature and like space and the void and creation and that kind of stuff too. So I want to do that and use this deck. And I haven't really used it for a while, but it is one of my favorites, one of my soul decks. So it's nice to grab that out. And I also like that the deck largely holds interpretations of symbols and images, not necessarily people. You can see people in the images. Like the other day I was looking at the moon card, and I have looked at that moon card, I don't know how many times. I've had this deck for like 2 years, and I finally saw the face in the moon, so that was very interesting. But I definitely recommend this deck to anyone anyway. And the last deck that I'm using is the Gods and Titans Oracle. I was going to get the Goddesses and Sirens companion oracle, but I don't really work with the goddess that much, to be honest with you guys. Sue me, but I like working with guys and masculine energy and gods, and majority of my altars are set up to dedicate to gods like Hades and all that jazz. So I decided to spend my money on this, and there were a few Greek gods, because this is based off the Greek pantheon, majority of it, although there are some things like Shiva and Ganesha, which is important too, because they're two gods that are on my altar as well that I work with. And I wanted to get this deck because I don't really have many pictorial interpretations of Hades in particular. I have images that I've printed off, but I don't really have a card with him, and it was really cool to have a energetic, I guess, place where I could put my energy into that. It also has some of the Egyptian pantheon as well. I recently bought the Isis Oracle to work with the feminine energy, because apparently I just said I don't, but I wanted to work with it when I was on hormone stuff, because I'm taking different hormones at the moment, and yeah, I wanted to work with the feminine energy because it's kind of related to my endocrine system and all that sort of stuff as well. So I wanted to have at least some goddess that I could work with short term to help heal through that process, because it has been a very exhausting, emotionally crippling experience, trying to get my body to work as it's supposed to. So, but I definitely wanted to get this deck, and I mean, the book's okay. It's, you know, your typical Oracle deck book. It's pretty naffy in some places, but I really like the images. I really like the colours as well. I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen this ad nauseum, because it's not exactly a new deck. But, and I like that the males are all different, because you do get a lot of tarot decks where, you know, they're represented as the same, they look the same, and it just doesn't, like, help at all for me, really. So I'm really glad I got that, and that's been helping me with, obviously, with some other stuff that I'm working on and going through, as you guys know, on my Instagram account. If you do follow me, which a lot of you do, going through gender stuff as well has been very helpful, having the masculine energy cards. So that's why I chose to work with these three particular decks, and I'm thinking about doing like a review on the angels and the gods and titans after this particular cycle of working with the astrology. So if you guys want a video, I will definitely make that. And lastly, because I'm a mess, let me find it. I also picked up this book for my birthday as well, because treat yourself. I got these signs by Carolyn Faulkner, and it's a guide to contemporary astrology. And it goes through, which I quite like, the planets, the signs, and the houses. And it's a beautiful book. I'm not going to lie, I kind of picked it up because it's pretty, but it's also got really great information. You're not going to be able to see this, but it goes through each particular planet and sign and tells you like what's good about it and what's bad about it in your chart. So it's basically like what is the positive things and what's the shadow side that you can work with as well. And I really like that most modern books at this current point in publishing are really talking about the shadow and the light in the natal chart as well, because I think it helps integrate really what the fundamental lessons are of looking at your natal chart, which really, for me, it's about understanding my full like potential perspective, who I am, what the stars were when I was born, what I'm like quote unquote destined to be, which looking at my chart, it's not surprising that I'm a writer, because pretty much around the whole natal chart it's talking about me being in the creative industry. So that made sense. But yeah, I really liked that they're talking about the shadow stuff. You know, I love my shadow work, delving into the psyche, dealing with my shit. So that's really important, and understanding where I guess some of the like karmic stuff comes from, and especially like the energy at the moment with all the planets and being in retrograde and Chiron, you know, really bringing up all the like harsh reality and trauma and things like that. I think something like this is a really great tab to start working on your natal chart if you don't already, or if you already are. I definitely do recommend both these books together. They work really well. I think this was like $30 and that was like 25, but I'm sure if you go on Book Depository they'll be much cheaper. I just went to the bookshop because YOLO, and I had money. When I have money I spend it, which is hilarious because that came up in my chart too, me being very shitty with my money. So yeah, but I think that's all I want to talk to you guys about, because I want to check in. I had been posting stuff on Instagram and other social media about what I was doing, but it has been quite a long time since I've been, I guess, okay to come on camera, because I tend to have like phases where I just freak out about talking to people and it makes it awkward. But yeah. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for your birthday wishes on Instagram and other social media. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I'll leave my link to my new tarot store where you can get readings down below. And I will talk to you guys very, very soon.